Right, let's do it.
Hello, Tom.
Hello. So, how's it going?
It's all right. Everything's great.
Got all the servers up early, I see. I was
Yep.
worried that I was going to have to be sort of like staring at my login screen whilst doing the Q&A. But yeah, that's fine.
No.
So I've got quite a lot of questions today. So I think it's probably best if we jump straight into it.
Yep. Let's do this.
But first, just to introduce you, you are a. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I can do that myself as well. Yeah. So I'm Daniel, aka Bazazar. I'm the project manager of Black Desert Online for North America and Europe. Well, that's about it.
Cool. All right. No, that's fine. No problem. Right. So let's jump straight into it then. I've got a list of around 25 questions, which I basically collected from the community, and I just went with the most popular questions. And I believe you've sent some of them over to sort of like career, so you could get sort of like better answers.
Yes, exactly. I did.
Awesome. All right. So the first one is going to be straight into it. Is that we were meant to be getting Valencia. Obviously, it got delayed for a few reasons that you guys stated, with the sort of like server structure and the hacking problem and all this stuff. Are you able to give us an update of when we can expect it or how things are going in terms of fixing those issues?
Yes, I can. So, as everyone knows by now, we postponed it, unfortunately, for several reasons, mainly technical, because our QA was not completed and we didn't feel comfortable by releasing that content in that early stage. Also because we had to make some adjustments to the Asian version here and there, because we have a different build. That being said, we are currently planning to release Valencia update by the end of this month. That's at least what we're targeting. Of course, QA is still ongoing. We also have a couple of translations to fix in time for 3 languages. So that just takes time. We hope to stick to our schedule. So far, it looks good. The other probably better message or better information about this is that we are currently targeting to release the Siege War already a little bit earlier than Valencia. Initially, it was planned to do Siege War, including Node War, of course, to release it after Valencia. Now we rearranged our roadmap a little bit because we know that the majority of the players were eagerly awaiting this core concept of video. And we're currently targeting latest the week after, to release Siege and Node War.
So we could be getting Sieges either next week or in 2 weeks' time.
That's correct.
And would that be...
If everything goes as planned. We're still waiting for the next build. Then we'll immediately do the final QA. And if we can sign it off in time, then we will deploy it as planned.
Okay, so would that mean that you would release... would you release Sieges just as they are now, or would you give us things like plus 18 and things like that before Valencia?
That is also not 100% finalized yet. The initial plan was actually to release the plus 20 upgrades or enchantment, whatever you want to call it. Also along with the Sieges. As I said before, we're still in the QA phase, so we might rearrange a few features for several reasons, mainly technical. We're not 100% sure whether it's going to be available with the Siege War or respectively with Valencia, so that's not decided yet.
Okay, awesome. Okay, that's cool to hear, because yeah, like you say, a lot of us are waiting on Sieges. I know a lot of my guild and a lot of the guilds are waiting specifically for Sieges to come out. So that is
exactly
awesome. But leading on from that kind of question about Sieges then coming out, one of the main concerns that a lot of people had, myself included, with Sieges is obviously there has been a hacking problem in this game. And lots of people have been getting ahead in terms of gear, or they're using cooldown hacks so that they can basically one-shot us. And we're kind of worried that Sieges are going to come out and there are going to people be running around hacking and winning Sieges by cheating, essentially. And that's something we really don't want. So how are you guys going about stopping that from happening?
We are at the exact same page there. We absolutely don't want that to happen either. That was also one of our main concerns, actually, in regards of security for the Siege War to come. We really want to maintain a proper interior service. That being said, we just released roughly 50 minutes ago, before we made the call, released a forum announcement, actually, which stated that as of today, we started to initiate waves of bans to get rid of those particular people who actually used cheating or hacking or botting software to gain such a advantage compared to other players. However, we recently had like a review from MMORPG.com who actually wrote exactly about that issue.
Yeah,
That
I
we
read
have.
that.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of exploiting going on, and a lot of it's less exploiting. It's actually more using hack or bot. One in particular called PYXbot. And that being said, from as of today, we're like pursuing those users very heavily by banning them permanently. It took us a little bit of more time than initially expected. It will still take us time to get completely rid of it. It's a really hard task, so to speak, because if you determine like a big chunk of players that used that particular cheating software or whatsoever similar tool, you as a publisher or as a developer, you want to make sure that you have as little false positives as possible, and so that the collateral damage that you do if initiating a ban wave is as minimal as even possible, preferably 0%, which is kind of hard to maintain.
Yeah.
So that being said, we are still improving our logics, our detection mechanisms, and it's still a long road to go. But we initially kicked that off today. The first wave is already out, initiated during the maintenance actually. So we should see already the first effects coming in soon.
Awesome.
And we will issue those ban waves now on a regular basis until we get rid of them.
That's awesome. So a quick question about the ban waves. You say like you're banning players. Are you permanently banning them, or is it like a temporary ban? It's permanent.
Oh, permanent. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And there's like, because another thing that it seemed to have been going on is, people would be reporting hackers, and it would seem that those hackers were banned, and then they'd be back on it after like a few days. So we were wondering whether these bans were actually permanent, or if it's just your temp banning them, hoping that they're going to stop doing it.
No, even the bans issued in the past should have been permanent. Maybe there was some some confusion with some players, or maybe someone actually was able to prove that he was actually not hacking or cheating, whatever. But generally speaking, especially about those ban waves that we initiated today, those bans will be permanent, no matter what the history of that player is.
Fantastic. All right, that's really good to hear. Yeah, because a lot of people obviously say, oh yeah, it wasn't me hacking, and they'll do anything to get out of it, and then they seem to get straight back to doing it.
Yeah, right. It is a really hard call to make. I mean, we had a couple of discussions internally as well about this issue. We were discussing several options that we could imagine would be reasonable in this situation, particularly, such as instead of issuing like a permanent ban, issuing like a temporary ban with additional sanctions, such as lowering the levels or removing certain items. But on the long run, we all believe that like making like a really strong stance on this matter, not only for the sake of the integrity of the service, but also to make a strong stance just in general about this, because no game wants to have hackers around, and neither do we. So, that's our policy from here on.
All right, it's good to hear that you guys are working to try and get that combated and fixed kind of thing. All right, so the next question I've got is also a bit about Siege Warfare. Is when we get sieges that come out, so if you're saying we're going to get them in like say 1 to 2 weeks, a lot of people don't really know much about sieges. It's quite hard to find the information online, and if it is online, it's normally in Korean. Are you guys going to somehow release, almost like a guide or some information on sieges, and is it going to be the same season as Korea's currently on?
Yes. So just for those players who do not know what the Siege War or the Node War is, let me just quickly recap a little bit. So there were already 3 seasons, and each season had a change of rule set, so to speak. So technically the meta of the whole warfare in BDO constantly changed, and the developers were eager to actually improve the whole warfare concept to where we are right now with season 4. It's not perfect. It's much better than the previous seasons by far. The best part about the new season is actually that it not only caters into the core player community, but also to those smaller guilds who are often like in a disadvantage when it comes to like global warfare, so to speak. And that being said, we are actually planning on releasing 2 pages that will help players to understand, old as well as new players. So one page will be a manual in 3 different languages, the same that we service so far. The manual will be several pages long. It's quite hefty, but that could not be avoided because the rule set of the Season 4 Siege Warfare is quite deep. It's quite complicated if you first experience it, if you first read it. But on second sight, you actually, once you actually begin to grasp the whole concept, it actually all fits together. And it's actually not that difficult as you may perceive it as at the beginning. So that being said, there will be one page, which is the manual. So everyone should definitely read that one. There's not much of a workaround about that. And the other one will be an interactive tutorial. Don't expect like a real an interactive tutorial in the means of like in-game graphic wise, but it's going to be a web-based interactive tutorial that we're planning right now. It's almost ready. And it will help users in a more playful way to understand the core concepts. There's like 4 to 5 core pillars that carry the new Siege concept. And that is what we try to deliver. Everything in between those pillars can be learned while actually playing the game and participating in the Siege War during our rehearsal time. That's while dropping that keyword, we are also planning on having a 2 to 3 week rehearsal time. Currently, the concept is like 2 weeks. So the first 2 weeks, there will be actually like a rehearsal time where everyone can more or less freely participate. The rules will still be applied, same as the official launch. We are not sure whether we will wipe or what kind of information we will wipe after the rehearsal is done. But the rehearsal is supposed to give everyone a fair chance to just jump in without the pressure of having to win and to maintain maintain the castle, for example, once you conquer it.
Cool. So just really quickly, because this is something I'm curious about, is with those with the practice weeks, for example, will the castles not earn the guild any silver, for example? Will that all get wiped?
It's not 100% finalized. As far as I know from our developers, it's planned to actually give the silver, nonetheless.
Okay.
So technically, it's going to be the exact same rule because we have to sort of live QA it under the real conditions, because otherwise what's the point of doing a rehearsal in the first place? Because we also want to see if every feature of this new concept will actually work out fine, if there's any bugs, if there's anything that is urgently required to be fixed. So that's why we're still in discussion of if we do, how much will get wiped afterwards.
Okay. Cool. Awesome.
But we will share that information as soon as possible once we start latest.
Okay, cool. Right, so next question I've got is, when are we getting guild houses? Like, when can we expect to be getting those? Do you have any idea?
Valencia update.
Valencia, is that part 1 we're going to be getting them, or part 2?
Yes.
So we're getting guild houses.
Valencia part 1.
Okay, well that was a very easy question then. All right, awesome. Next question is actually, sorry, just going back to the guild houses. Is it going to be the same system in Korea in terms of like the bidding for the houses? Is anything changing, or is it staying the exact same?
As of to now, as for to now. So for now, all I know is that it will be the exact same as the Korean version has.
Okay, cool, awesome, sweet. Okay, right. Hang on, let me just get this next one. Next question we've got is, how do you guys feel about in terms of this current state of the game with class balance? Do you think that any classes are overpowered or underpowered, or are you planning on changing anything to make it a little bit more balanced? Or do you think
well, that's a question that I actually had to ask the developers about. I mean, I have my own perception about it, same like every other players out there. I think there's as many perception as there's opinions about what is OP, what is imbalance between the classes. Because to measure exactly like 2 classes, you would have to keep in mind that behind every class there's a player, and every player has a different set of skills, different speed of reaction, different experience about PvP. He has a different tactic in his mindset. And that being said, it's quite hard to really determine in how far the classes are severely imbalanced or overpowered. The main answer, or the main concept, what developers actually told me about it is, they are aware that in certain situations, some of the classes might have an advantage over others, without naming particularly which one it would be. It's not really stating they are overpowered, but it just really depends on the situation and the occasion where you use that class or its skills. But they're still, of course, as all developers out there, they are very eager to balance the game out as far as possible, and to improve the balance between the classes. So it's balanced in all scenarios. But of course, that's a very difficult task that takes time, a lot of A/B testing. They're always reading and browsing our forum for feedback from users about the classes. However, class balance is one of the things that take the longest to actually be finalized and deployed at the end of the day. So adding a new region that is fairly fast, you can just come up with a good idea, like, for example, hey, we don't have ice region, let's come up with ice region, let's put some yetis and whatever. So that's fairly simple to develop also, but making a class really balanced, or actually figuring out where exactly do we need to balance, this is a task that just takes a lot of time. But that's the advantage of having an online game. Other than client-based games, online games always progress, and they evolve into something better over time, mostly at least.
Yeah. It's an ongoing process. It's never complete, kind of thing.
Exactly. So it's something to expect for the future. It's nothing that is to be addressed in the short term.
Cool. Awesome. All right, then. Right. The next one is... So obviously you've got dyes in the game, which you can change the look of your armor with. Now, I've never done this before because it costs real-life money. So what a lot of people want to know is are there any plans of actually adding even just basic dyes in the game for in-game currency? Because
do you mean adding actually dyes that you can actually buy in-game from an NPC or craft yourself, or do you mean
so at the moment we have
items that you can...
So at the moment you have to go to the pearl shop, obviously, and spend money on dyes and everything. And yes, you can get some extravagant colors and stuff, and that's fine. But people are thinking, can you get basic colors, or could we get basic colors that we could dye our armor? Because my armor's looked the same for a very long time now. Because I don't want to go spending lots of money on colors. So people are wondering, is it possible to maybe get just some simple colors for in-game currency?
No.
Okay. All right. Fine. I thought
there's currently no plan to do so. We're still in discussion. Just to elaborate on that one, the clear no comes more from developer side. From our side, we have a little bit different perception of this because we're closer to the Western market, and we are aware that we would like to offer a little bit more freedom in regards of customization, but that's still something that is ongoing for a little bit of time already, and I think it will require a little bit more time, but for now I would just say a clear no to this.
Right. Okay, fine, fair enough. So this next question is, I think this was the most popular question actually. So, and it is about the desync on the servers. So what is the current situation that's going on with the desync? We know that you guys are trying to resolve it, and I'm pretty sure you guys upgraded your servers a little while back, didn't you? But there still seems to be quite a major issue in terms of desync. What are you guys doing in terms of fixing that and resolving it?
Yeah, we know that the desync is quite a big issue, especially for melee classes such as a Berserker, for example, with the grab, that the CC is not triggering properly, and all of a sudden, it's some sort of a rubber band lag, so to speak, where the character appears a little bit further away.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're aware of the issue, and so are the developers. Both sides are investigating and inquiring about the issue and trying to fix it. However, the focus at this stage right now, as for the last 2 weeks, was clearly more focused on handling the hacking situation, which required a lot of time from our resources. Same goes for finalizing the content release for Siege War and for Valencia. However, now that one part is done, namely the hackers, so that is initiated, we can now focus and address other issues such as the desync issue. It is already ongoing for quite a while, we know about that.
Yeah.
But in short, I cannot say more than we are working on it, actually.
Okay, all right.
That's all I can say about it.
Because it's another kind of concern that lines up with the hacking that was going on for Guild Sieges to come out. It's that obviously desync in Castle Sieges would be quite damaging, especially to classes like Berserkers, Warriors, and stuff like that. Even Sorks, because grabs and stuff like that miss all the time. So
Yes.
is that something that you're hoping to have resolved by the time we get Sieges, or realistically are we gonna have desyncy Sieges kind of thing going on?
It's really hard to say. One of our tech guys, actually our CTO, he was just recently in Korea again to meet the developers. We had a couple of talks about several features, also bringing up this one, and we're still inquiring about it. I haven't had the chance to get a full update on this matter. So for now, all I can repeat is we're working on it. I can really give no ETA on when it's going to be fixed.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. No problem. So the next question we've got is, can you explain how exactly investing energy in a node increases the drop you get? Do you get more rare loot, or is it only an increase in trash items?
What's the preferred answer you would like to hear?
Oh, God. Are you going to tell me you don't know either?
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm just teasing you.
Oh, God, I was going to say. Right, so what? Because, like, I get asked this all the time. I get asked it in my stream. People always discuss it and everything. So, like, does leveling your node get you more rare drops or not?
It does.
It does?
Yes, it does.
Man.
So I have it black and white, so if everyone proves me wrong, please don't blame it on me. But I got the official statement from the developers that actually increasing your node level will increase your chances on getting items such as, and they made the example of Witch Earring and Ogre Ring.
Oh, my days. I'm going to have to start putting... No, I'm going to have to start investing in Mancha Forest, aren't I? I can't
probably.
I can't believe that. I never knew that, because from day one, I've always thought it just increases the quantity of trash items.
I mean, there's still always the remaining part of the beautiful probability system. That way, called short RNG. So even if you have leveled up your node to whatever level 10, and you max out your luck or whatsoever, and you're gonna go grind for like 10 hours, you can still end up with nothing. Of course, that's just the probability. But the chances that it happens is less likely if you have leveled up your node. So.
Okay.
Yes,
well,
I can that one.
Damn, that's really interesting. I wasn't expecting that answer at all. That's actually really exciting. So same kind of question about nodes, but this is about does investing energy in a town or in a worker node actually do anything?
No.
Nothing at all. All right. Okay. So there is.
But there's an additional explanation or additional information that I received also from developers is that, and that is something we brought it up because we're constantly forwarding the user feedback on a regular basis, and that was brought up somewhere, I think already 1 month ago or even 1.5 months ago, that players actually would like to see that if you contribute something to also the worker nodes. I mean, a lot of people were speculating about it. And I think developers actually are considering to revamp that system where, for example, investing into a certain region or into a city or whatever, that it would increase, for example, the amity game or something like that. And how far will affect the worker environment? That's absolutely not discussed or planned or finalized at all.
Okay.
But to keep it short, there's currently nothing that it will influence on the worker nodes.
Okay, cool. All right then. I'm still blown away about the fact that you get rare drops off of putting no energy into nodes. That's so. I can't believe I feel deceived the entire time I've been playing this game. So the next question is about the mail system. Lots of people, myself, I go grinding, and I'm in a party, and I've got a loot bag, and I get lots and lots of sold stuff on the marketplace, and I have to go through about 60 pages of mail individually, and receive the silver out of each one. Is there any possibility, or are you guys working towards getting a receive all button for the mail system?
Let me just quote what they replied to me. Receive all button in mail system will be added soon.
Soon. Is that the exact word? Soon. Oh man. Okay.
It can mean everything or nothing. No, but I believe usually there soon implies that it's supposed to be like within the next patches. So I would assume it could be by end of the month.
Well,
if
that'd
we're
be
lucky.
awesome. Right, so we are getting it then. It's just a question of when we get it is the
Exactly.
specific. Oh, I can't wait for that. I had to go through 80 pages of mail the other day. It was horrible. Cool. All right. Next one is the guild journal's been broken. Hang on, sorry. The guild journal has been broken since around March. Like, it doesn't actually show you about war decks. It's completely blank. Are you guys aware of this? Are there, is it going to be getting fixed anytime soon?
We are aware of it, and we're currently working on fixing that problem. However, it will take a little bit of time. I would assume that just based on the development during the recent weeks, I would assume that this could be something we could have done latest by Valencia update.
Okay, cool, awesome. All right, that'll be
fingers crossed. So I don't want to be too promising on that part,
No.
but fingers crossed. I'm very optimistic.
All right, awesome. Okay. Next thing is, have you ever thought about adding family names to the chat so that it's easier for us to know who's on an ult? Like, even if it was just a guild chat, because I understand that some people don't want to know what they want to, have some privacy when they're on an ult. But like, if it's guildies, it's very hard for us to tell, who's on their ult and who's who and everything when they keep changing characters. Has that ever been a possibility, or is that anything you guys have thought about, or not really?
I think that counts into the same category like the previous two questions, actually, like the quality of life changes. Those changes are usually or fairly easy to implement once they're finalized in their concept and from the technical part. I could imagine they will be able to implement this in a proper time frame, in a timely manner. They just gave us the feedback that we were discussing it. However, we were already sending some feedback about it a few weeks ago. And so far, the stance is that they're actually trying to revamp the whole, or not revamp, but just to improve the whole settings that you can have while chatting. So once you have like the chat window open, you can actually open several tabs where you can preset or make special settings for each tab, right? So they're trying to improve that feature and adding more features. For example, display name could be something like where you can actually click and select display family name or display character name, or but then the other problem occurs that it should be somehow unified, because otherwise some people have a character name, some other people display the family name.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that is still conceptualized and not ready for deployment yet, but they're still discussing that feature.
Okay, cool. All right, then, no problem. Here's another question that gets asked a lot, pretty much every day on the forums and everything, is night vendors. Are we going to be getting them?
They confirmed that we will get it.
Do you know when?
They didn't specify the time frame. So they mentioned it's going to be sooner or later.
Okay, all right.
I believe it has to do with the patch of Valencia we will get first, and then all the other features can be added on top of that. So it is something we can expect, but it might take a little bit more time to deploy it.
Okay, right. So we are getting it. We just don't know when yet, basically.
Yeah.
But that when you don't know when, that's not down to you guys, is it? That's down to Pearl Abyss. They haven't decided what order they're doing stuff in. Is that right?
The decision is part of both sides.
Right. Okay.
But the tip at the scale is more often the developers, because they have a certain concept of the game, and also they want to kind of follow a similar concept that they have like for all the other services. I think overall, something that almost every developer out there, especially with developers from the Asian market where they publish their games in the Western market and other services or other regions, usually they try to kind of unify the settings for their client to all services, because it makes the management of the game, the quality management, and also the version management especially, much more easier if you have like 5 same versions instead of 5 different versions, where you have to maintain like thousands of different settings. So that being said, I believe they have a concept for when to release him, but it's not planned or finalized yet.
Cool. All right, no problem. So actually, whilst we brought up the night vendors, I'm gonna rejig the order of this question quick. So what is happening with wild bosses? So I've heard all over the place like we've got different reasons for wild bosses. Like I think were they added into the game as a catch-up mechanic? Is that what they were there for? And are they going to be staying in the game permanently, or are they getting removed?
You talking about field bosses or
Yeah.
world bosses?
Sorry, like dim tree, the dim tree spirit, Dastard Beg, all those ones.
Or red nose. Okay.
Yeah.
It was definitely not a catch-up mechanic. Actually, it was like an early alpha or beta stage, I don't recall exactly, where a huge amount of players actually requested to have something like the open world bosses roaming around, respawning, something that you know just from other games as well, aside from region bosses like Saka, for example. So that being said, we just followed actually the lead of what the community gave us as feedback and implemented them. However, we see and we do acknowledge the issue that it contributes to the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer, and creating a bigger gap between those people who are constantly or who are able to organize themselves and farm them on several channels multiple times per day. And acquire like the stronger armor and stronger equipment and get richer, and the people who are like, yeah.
That is the problem at the moment. Like for example,
yes.
I did like I'm not even getting the most loot out of some people, but you know I go do a few monsters every now and then. And I normally get a Mark of Shadows or something. Where there are some people who do wild bosses a lot, but because they don't have the gear or the damage, they seem to get nothing, and it's just I feel bad for them almost, like, so it's just the loot system's done because there's like a higher and a lower tier of loot, isn't there? Sort of like top 20 damage and the lower 20 damage get put on different loot tables or something like that. I think Jousker explained a while back.
Yes. So, well, generally speaking, the devs and us, like the publisher, we are both on the same page there. Same with the community, actually. We absolutely acknowledge that issue. That is absolutely not the intention that was given at the beginning to implement those bosses, because it was supposed to be something where people can cooperate together, where they can fight towards a certain goal, where they can have fun. I mean, it's always fun to run into a boss and just to fight him and hope for like a good loot. However, the loot should obviously be somewhat in reach for everyone at some point if you constantly contribute in killing that particular boss.
Yeah.
So that being said, developers are currently discussing or trying to develop a system where it offers like a more fair way of paying back the effort put into killing those bosses on a regular basis. How that exactly will look like, I have no information about that yet. But they did acknowledge this particular problem, so to speak, and they also said that this is different from their intention, and they would like to actually revamp the system in a way that it actually gives more people a fair chance that their contribution overall pays out.
All right. So they are aware that there is somewhat of a problem with world bosses in their current state.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, that's fine. But sorry, just to clear this up, they're not being removed at any point that we know of yet.
We did not even bring that up. Neither did we, nor did they.
Okay. All right, fine. It's no problem. Right. So going back to where we were, and I've just lost where I am now because
Would you like them actually to be removed?
Oh man, this is more giving my opinion, which I'll probably get shot for.
I know.
For me personally, world bosses make you too much money. For me, like I can, just do like for example, I did I was running low on money. So I did some wild bosses for the last couple of days, and I made 40 million, 60 million silver.
Right.
And it's just it seems like a very easy way out for geared people. I got 3 Mark of Shadows off of 3 Mudsters back to back. I got a Laverto as well, and it's just like some people get nothing, and then others get loads of stuff. Someone in my guild got 2 Tree Spirit belts off of 2 Tree Spirits, so that's that's 60 million silver in the space of 20 minutes. So it's just little things like that, So that, me personally, I don't like them, but I know some people do. Some people do like them because it is PvE content at the end of the day, I guess. But yeah, that's just me personally, I guess.